Hey guys, welcome to the Art of Comics. I'm excited today, especially excited because, we don't really talk a lot about mainstream comics here. We don't. I got a lot of stuff here. We don't talk about too much Marvel and DC. If you look through everything, I'm like, we got some. But today, we're going to change it up. We'll see. This is an experiment. How popular is Marvel and DC? I'm gonna find out by the views here. If this has a lot of views, then I'll know that there's a desire to talk about Jim Lee, right? If we don't get a lot of views, then I'm fine. Keep going full steam ahead on Kyle Baker and Chris Ware and such. But today, I do want to do one of these tit for tats, this and that, comic book artists, comparing them. We've went from two very different styles, like Alex Toth and Bill Sienkiewicz. We then went to that were a little closer, Chris Ware and Seth. And now we're going to go to some even closer. They did the same book on X-Men. It's going to be Marc Silvestri and Jim Lee. Now, this is a customized bound book of X-Men. This is Uncanny X-Men. This one is volume 251 to 277. Okay, right in that perfect range when Mark was banging those out and then Jim showed up and he started banging them out. Okay, I have two other volumes previous to this. I have the 200 to 222 and 223 to 250. So I've got those two others. So I got a 3-volume set. I was going to go before 200s, like the 175s, but I just haven't done it yet. And I don't think I would need to go past 277, although there's some good stuff there too. That said, why don't we crack this open? Let's look at some art and take a look and see some differences, some commonalities, and just check out some comic book superhero art, dude. I haven't read a superhero comic in a long ass time. You could tell me how long it's been because I talked about it probably. It's been is Promethea superheroes? Okay, so I did recently. Just Promethea was like a month ago, so take that back. Let's take a look.
Are you ready?
Okay, can everybody see this? Hear me, hopefully? Okay, we're going to talk about two issues, kind of go through them. Specifically, this one, which I think is brilliant. I love this cover. This is Marc Silvestri. Remember, this is towards kind of the end of his run, actually. He'd been doing this for a number of years. And this is towards the end of that run. And then we're going to go into Jim Lee. This is a great issue, which you guys have seen this one too. This is kind of a classic issue. So we're going to look at both of these artists and just kind of like take a look at some of the choices they're making artistically and see what we can learn. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, now, and this is the original, comics. So this is the original newsprint. So they are yellowed. And they're not as super fancy like the, the glossy stuff. So some of the coloring and the lines, because of the age, might show up a bit here. So we might show that. Okay, let's just take a look. First thing right off the bat, I notice, and we're going to also have to give a shout out to Dan Green, who's the inker. Using some really big, thick brushes. These are probably like 4s. These big, because remember, this is, 15 by 10. These are probably like big 4 brushes. A lot of brush work here. Even these big, thick, chisel shaped, so a little bit of kind of almost reminds me of John Romita Jr. kind of flavor. A little loose. Yeah. He did this thing too a lot. This kind of a looseness with things. I mean, this actually looks like a glove, the way this kind of moves. This might have been colored wrong. This could have been a glove maybe. Just because your skin doesn't have those quite lines. But there's a kind of an energy to it. You know, you can even tell there's the inking and just there's a little bit of like speed, which gives it a bit of a gestural feel. And Silvestri did put some hatching, but not a whole lot of cross hatching, just some general hatching, kind of big, thick lines here on the close-up. Again, a lot of brushwork I'm seeing by Dan Green. There's a good amount of detail here, but not a huge lot of hatching, which I think we're going to see with the Jim Lee stuff. Yeah, I'm just trying to... This is all pretty much what you would expect, you know, everything divided by thirds. So pretty kind of traditional the way we see of things. Divided by thirds, either in chopped in thirds here or twos or full, right? We see that. We'll offset things sometimes for close-ups. So compositionally speaking, you know, you have a guy that comes out a bit, you'll have a panel that comes out. Pretty standard. I mean, this is what I use. This is kind of like the classic, you know, I'll call it classic, but kind of standard, compositionally speaking, you know, comic. Nothing too crazy. Let's go to Jim just for a sec, and we'll go now. Let's look at him right away and see what we can see. Right away, you can see while there is brush here, there's also a lot of kind of fine line work here. These could be repeatographs, these could be crow quill, nibs, like those speedball guys, 201 hunts, things like that. There is hatching, but now we're getting into more cross hatching, right? So we're showing these gray tones, medium values with a lot more of that. And it feels like there's just more lines, a little bit more detailed work. This is great action. Now, we really moved up the level on the composition. Really had this really fun, dynamic composition here. It's a great hand, too. It's a nice hand. Yeah. Big, thick black borders, which is different. Also, this is not in thirds. This is a very, very small, very thin, almost cinematic kind of panel, which is a little different. And we get some good faces here. Yeah, you can see there's definitely a difference. You know what I mean? See how in the lips here, see how kind of, I'm going to call this a gestural again, kind of a looser quality to it. And part of that looseness, I think, comes because it's by brush, and it feels like it's a little bit more, yeah, just done quick, you know? Where this is a little bit more deliberate. It feels a little bit more like carefully planned out as far as just the line work. Look at this, though. This is great. Again, really changing up some of the exciting compositions, not only here, which is a great, wonderful image of Wolverine. Within the panel, look at all these different things. You've got someone very far in the distance. You have these different movements happening. And in the page composition, you've got a nice breakout large page, a panel, comes these two small ones, these broken up into fours, but not even four, right? Where here, it's much more, and yeah, I know we're comparing just 1-to-1. If we looked at all their work, we could see that kind of stuff over there. It also depends on the story, you know, if there's an action sequence, you know, Silvestri might do something differently. But generally speaking, I am seeing that the Jim Lee is really kind of pushing more some of those compositional things. This is really good, though. This is nice. This is all good. That's a great image. Who did this one? I think this is not... Yeah, oh, this is Rick Lenardi. I love Rick Lenardi. Look how great that is. That is just so good. Huge fan of him. Yeah, this has got a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot more, I would say, kind of more of a draftsman type of things in here, as far as just the figures and everything are not quite as, I don't like to use cartoony, but a little bit more grounded in reality. I feel a little bit more illustration kind of based than cartooning based, which is maybe Silvestri is a little more of that. Some fun, kind of sexy, stuff here. Yeah, I really like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I really like the way he's breaking up these panels. And I feel like this is just slightly more traditional. And when I look at my comic that I'm working on, I'm definitely more in this kind of a old school, broke up into thirds kind of way to do it. Where Jim really is playing with getting a lot going on. Now, he's also has a lot of dialogue. Look at all this freaking dialogue here. He's able to put all that dialogue and still have enough space for the art, which is not easy. Look at all this. Chris Claremont was just so damn verbose. The fact that you could put all this in here and still have your 4 major characters at different positioning is really pretty amazing. And it's great. This is almost like a Kurosawa kind of frame, right? Where you have all the characters in different positions that actually state something about who they are, their characters. Who she is, who she is, who she is, who he is, by their posture, their positioning, and they're at different levels or, planes, which is just really dynamic and really kind of exciting. That is a really great panel. That's the kind of stuff you think about when you're thinking about these compositions is, those Kurosawa, Seven Samurai elements where you have all the characters in there in different places and everything's put in there just right. And that's what you're doing basically as a comic book artist, is you're a director. You're kind of like telling the story, moving the camera different places. Yeah, a lot more detail. Just more rendering. This is good though, and that's a great face. These are great images, and there is some nice details and things going on here. But with the brushwork, the inking, and the way it's done, it has just a more of an energetic. This potentially could feel a little bit more stiff. Now he compensates the stiffness, the potential stiffness, I'll say, with the dynamic composition of both panel and page, whereas he has a looser kind of like feel, This is just my take. Yeah. These are great. This is like, these girls, dude, were so cute back when I was a kid. It's like, whoa, they're so pretty. Yeah, good stuff. Great panels. Great artwork. Jim Lee is great. What are you going to say about Jim freaking Lee, dude? He is one of the best. One of the best. Is this more Jim Lee? Yeah. You can just tell right away, Jim Lee. He's just great. And that's freaking Rogue, the Savage Land Rogue, which was the best Rogue. Look at this. This was a great, let's end on this. Wonderful freaking panel. Got this sexy girl. She's there. It's got the mountains and the sunset and the freaking T-Rex and all this stuff. And yeah, it's great. Or maybe we should end on this. What a great image too. Iconic. They made t-shirts of this and it sold like crazy, dude. I wish I could get one of these t-shirts. I never got one. I always wanted one. I should just get one now. Love it. A great image. So there you go. That's a little bit of Marc Silvestri versus Jim Lee. I could have broke out a lot more books actually, but I thought it'd be just fun to do kind of a short one today. What do you guys think? Are there some other artists you'd like me to cover? Who would be a good comparison artist? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching and check out all my other videos. Thanks guys. Bye.